people can call it what it is, but bro, ain't nothing more savage than you knocking somebody out and then a man going ahead twerking. Now I can never do nothing like that. It ain't in my heart to do nothing like that. But dude do that to me, knock me out, and then start twerking. I'm retired. I'm quitting.
Fighting in the parking lot. That's what we gotta run it back. I don't.
Did you see this, man?
I did.
Tom Aspinall was in the interview with Nina, bro, and he asked her a straight up question. He was dead ass too. He said,
I like the confidence at least, like.
He said, have you ever been fingered by an MMA fighter before?
Even like in John Jones' controversy, like he had the mystique and the presence at first where we didn't see the controversies where he was marketable.
Yeah.
It was some of the outside the cage issues, but Sean is like Sean 24/7.
What up, y'all? Welcome to the Brick Brother Podcast. It's your boy Joaquin Buckley. Y'all already know, man, we got knockout of the year. We doing something crazy. We doing something special for y'all. Man, we're going to be talking about MMA fights and giving y'all something real cool for y'all just to sit back and listen to. I got my man right here, Edric Dillard. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, been a part of MMA for a long time. Fan, former teammate, training partner. Just happy to be part of the space. And we have a company, Solid Foundation. We're doing a lot of dope stuff. So absolutely, tune in.
So we just gonna be standing on business. Everything that we talk about, man, we stand on. So this is a show, man, that's unfiltered, uncensored, and damn sure we unafraid to talk about anything. So if y'all wanna lock in with us, make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that y'all lock in on that bell to get notifications and when we in. So let's get the show started. All right, bro. Dana White looking real fit right now. My man said he went on an 80-hour fast. My man looking real good, but I don't think he's slick, bro. I think my man knew exactly what he was doing, bro. He stole that from Dick Gregory, bro. I don't care what nobody say. My man saying he on them on just water and juices and stuff like that.
Bone broth.
Yeah, bone broth. But no, he looking real good, man. Looking real healthy. I feel like, he put himself in a situation where, he's showing a lot of people that, if you change your lifestyle and the things that you do, like you can really like push hard because he's the hardest worker in the UFC. Right, obviously being the CEO, being the president, going from one event to the other, doing countless interviews, talking about the stats. So I'm sure it's hard on his body and stuff like that, man. A lot of stress that he deals with. So to see him in the position where he's at right now, I think it's pretty dope, bro. To see what he's able to do on that little diet fast that he got going on.
Yeah, Dana back in the day, I'm sure you've seen some of the photos. He was a little doughy, not in the best shape, but it seems like the last maybe 4 years or whatever, he's really put health number one, and it seems like he hits the weights a lot and everything. So it was interesting to see him talk about doing that. What did he say, 48 hours? No, how long?
No, it was 72 hours.
72 hour fast, yeah. Drinking brown broth.
Yeah. I mean, I think he taking a little something extra, but I'm going to leave him alone. It ain't like he fighting. It ain't like he competing.
USADA approved.
Yeah, it ain't USADA approved. As soon as USADA up out of here, December 31st, I got it on my calendar. I'm taking whatever Dana got. I'm definitely going with him. But, you see my man doing the fucking Fridays and stuff like that. I think it's lit, man. Dana doing his thing. Shout out to him, of course, But let's get to it, man. Let's get on these fights, bro. So we just had Brandon Allen versus Paul Craig. Brandon Allen really showed out. I mean, you got a tough fighter in Paul Craig, man, who just, moved down from 205 to 185. And, I really thought this was going to be a big test for Brandon Allen. And, just seeing his confidence and just how he was the whole time. And you know how I feel, bro. Don't bring your kids to the fights, man, because I feel like it's some type of curse behind that, bro, when you bring your babies in there and stuff like that. But with him doing all that, it showed a little bit of extra motivation that he had, and he really went out there, bro, and put Paul Craig out of there. Took him out, in the third round by submission?
Submitted him.
Yeah. What you think about it?
It was a good performance. I thought it was a good stylistic matchup for Brendan. I thought it'd be more of a striking bout, but Brendan just dominated the fight from beginning to end. I mean, he wasn't in any trouble. He dominated the grappling. He dominated the striking range. I was surprised that he was able to pass Paul Craig's guard so easily. The ground and pound is what stood out to me. He was just slicing with elbows, beat up Paul Craig, and then eventually found his neck in the third round.
Man, what you think next for Brandon Allen, though, bro?
I mean, you got to give him a top contender. I mean, what is that, 4 straight?
4 straight, 4 finishes almost.
Yeah.
All by rear naked choke.
I don't know. I would like to see him fight, a top-tier contender, maybe a Cannonier or a Vittori, somebody of that caliber. You got to see what's next. That weight class obviously has new traction with Strickland being the champion, so let's see what he can do.
How you think if he runs it back with Strickland, how you think that fight goes for my man All In?
I don't know, man. Sean's hot right now. You know,
Yeah.
I'm interested how Sean and Duplessis plays out first, and then we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna say Sean just right now with how hot he is.
Okay,
You know?
okay. But either way, man, shout out to Brandon Allen, man. You definitely did your job. But man, hey, the next fight that we got, bro, we got Jake Matthews versus my man Michael Morales.
I know you were watching this fight pretty closely.
Yeah,
Your
man,
weight
that's
class.
my weight division. You hear me? So I had to watch closely. But you know, my thoughts is, man, I'm gonna beat everybody. It don't even matter.
Whooping
You know what I'm
everybody
saying?
ass?
I'm whooping everybody
All
ass.
right.
So it don't matter who would have won the fight. But you know, I'm very impressed by Michael Morales and what he was able to do. He looks real explosive, look real fast. And real conditioned too. He didn't look like he got tired, man, in that third round. But what you think about that fight?
It was a good fight. It was a chess match, honestly. I thought the commentary didn't necessarily, it's hard to do commentary, but I didn't think they told the story how close it was. It was very competitive. The thing that really stuck out to me with Morales, he was landing a lot of kicks, and it seemed that his range was really causing trouble for Jake Matthews to close the distance and with the timing. But it was fairly competitive everywhere else. Morales looked composed. For him to be in the UFC such a short time and go against a veteran, I think Jake Matthews has been in the UFC since like 2014,
Yeah,
2015.
he's been in the game since he was a youngin', since he was 20 years old. You know, he's still young himself. I think 29.
Yeah, so even though it was competitive, that's very impressive for a young fighter to be able to fight a veteran and have that type of performance. So it was a great performance, and you need some of those longer fights against tough competitors and not just knockouts to see what you really made of.
And we got to see, Jake Matthews didn't hurt him or anything like that, but you got to see a little firefight between both of them. You got to see this kid go all 3 rounds, and I really got to see exactly what maybe I can expose from him, And I see a lot of things there, so it could be a future fight for myself, Michael Morales, and I'm gonna be Doc Ock in this one, you know what I'm saying? So, because I'm gonna be using a lot of ranges and different abilities that I have, whether that's my wrestling, whether that's my striking, I really feel like this kid right here, if me and him was to fight, this is what's gonna put my name back up. Getting an undefeated guy. He's 4-0 in the UFC, undefeated with 16 fights. So I think that's a nice little matchup for me, man. So, Michael Morales, hey, bro, if you got time, holla at your boy. But congratulations on your win. Next fight that we got, bro. We got Chase Hooper versus Jordan Leavitt, man. That little jiu-jitsu matchup right there.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie to you. That fight right there was one of the funniest fights to watch because you see 2 guys out there, man, and they going straight to jiu-jitsu overall. You see that Jordan Leavitt, man, he could have had some ability to actually finish Chase Hooper, in my opinion, right? He landed a couple good combinations, but as soon as the fight got to the ground, man, they went straight to jiu-jitsu, man, got straight to rolling. But we seen that Chase Hooper was just a little bit more crisp with his jiu-jitsu techniques, man, and got that rear naked finish. But what you think about that fight?
it was a good fight. It was funny because you mentioned straight to the jiu-jitsu. I mean, I expected it to be a grappling intensive fight, but Jordan Leavitt had Chase Hooper in a little bit of trouble with that hand. I think it was a right hand he landed when he was on top. But it was just they looked to scramble and use jiu-jitsu, and it wasn't as physical as I thought. Jordan Leavitt, excuse me, it was the bigger, older fighter. I thought he was going to try to, big bro Chase Hooper a little bit, but he kind of played the guard game a bit much, and that's Chase's world. That's what he does. So a bit unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is. Shout out Chase Hooper.
The least intimidating dudes on the roster right there, man, going at it. But hey,
you said it.
I said, hey, like I told you, man, we don't hold back nothing over here. But either way, though, congratulations to Chase Hooper, man. I really thought that Jordan Leavitt was gonna get it done, but
you thought he was gonna twerk?
I thought he was gonna twerk on him, bro. I ain't gonna lie, that's some savage ass shit. I don't know. People can call it what it is, but bro, ain't nothing more savage than you knocking somebody out and then a man going ahead twerking. Now I can never do nothing like that. It ain't in my heart to do nothing like that. But dude, do that to me, knock me out, and then start twerking. I'm retired. I'm quitting.
Fighting in the parking lot. That's what we gotta run it back. I don't.
All right, man. Next fight that we got right here, man. We got getting on this fight, man. Definitely watch this one though. I definitely watch this. Amanda.
Ribas.
Ribas. How's a Ribas when it's an R in it? I thought it was Ribas.
They're Brazilian. It's Portuguese.
It's Portuguese?
Portuguese.
All right, man. Well, we're going to call it Ribas. All right. So Amanda, though, I ain't going to lie, bro. She seen some trouble from Luana. Damn, I'm sorry, y'all. So from Luana, whatever, she's seen a lot of difficulties, man, in that first and that second round because Luana was definitely touching up the whole fight. But Amanda Ribas was staying in the fight the whole time and not slowing down and made sure that she kept the pressure on this girl. And I was very impressed by, that third round finish that she was able to get. And I ain't gonna lie, that was like the most impressive finish of that night. You got a spinning heel kick right off of that, a 2-3 for the finish, bro. Straight rock girl. Like, I was highly impressed by the finish that Amanda was able to give, man. That was a fun fight to watch for sure.
Yeah, it was dope. The part of the fight, because I actually missed the ending. You actually filmed me. I could hear Dominic Cruz and Paul Felder freaking out with the finish or whatever. I actually missed it. But Ribas was having a lot of trouble closing the distance. The girl was moving laterally on her, and she was having a hard time actually connecting. She was kind of marked up, getting touched up.
Man, she had speed bumps on her head, bro.
She was getting touched up pretty good. But, Amanda Ribas is a veteran. She's been in the UFC for a long time. So, dope for her to get the finish and, figure it out.
Awesome win, man. I wonder how Sean Strickland felt about that fight, man. Lord, gee. So our last little fight that was on the main card, we have Medic versus a new guy named Tabek. I'm guessing from Kazakhstan, but just coming off of LFA, just won a fight.
Hey, man, you trying, man. You trying.
I'm trying, bro. Hey, things gonna change. You hear me? Hey, just excuse us. This the first episode, man. All right? But coming out of LFA with an awesome knockout with an uppercut, man, I actually did a funny video, did a reel on that, and it's cool to see him in the UFC now. It looks like he's a welterweight, but he came in, bro, I think, on 8 minutes notice, no cap.
Yeah. He actually fought at lightweight?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So he moved up and wait.
Yeah, I think he just took that fight on short notice and he moved up. But it was very, very impressive. Go ahead, though.
Very impressive win. He definitely got hurt in that first round by Medic with the hands, but he stayed composed, went straight to the wrestling, and, controlled the fight, was dominant up until that moment, and got into the second round. Another rear naked choke, bro. A bunch of submissions in this on this card, bro.
Yeah, he was slick, man. His wrestling was good. It wasn't like he was just shooting to shoot. Medic, he's a solid fighter for sure, and I think he was coming off multiple wins himself. So I thought he was, fighting somebody who never fought in the UFC on short notice, and the guy's coming up a weight class. I thought he was going to dominate, but my Tybeck, man, hell of a fight, good game plan, and then submitted him. He didn't just dominate him on the ground. He ended up getting a finish. So yeah.
That fight night card was full of submissions, full of finishes, man. A lot of exciting fights. One of those sleeper cards that you wouldn't expect to really, show out like that, but they did again.
Yeah, it started early too. Like that kind of threw me off.
Yeah, I didn't expect that, bro. Almost missed my man Charles fight. That fight.
I did miss it because I just didn't even know the fight was on.
Man,
early.
We caught it at the last minute. We was going through a whole workout, man, with Travis. And, Travis was like, man, what time did the fight start? I'm like, oh, man, they probably start around about 5. Like,
yeah, right? That's what I was thinking.
He said, nah. And luckily he had the notifications on. Boom, he like, no, Charles up right now. I'm like, damn. So we stopped what we was doing and watched Charles fight. Charles Johnson, shout out to him. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win, but it was a close fight, though. It was a real close fight between him and the guy that he fought. Brazilian cat, man, he ain't giving him no shout out. You know what I mean? I'm petty out here. But regardless, though, it was a good fight up until, the judges and stuff like that. I feel like Charles could have came out and put a little bit more pressure in the first and the second round, but, tell people it is what it is. You live and learn. You move on.
It happens, unfortunately, MMA, you get one night, one opportunity to do it, even if you could beat somebody 50 times. If you think about a basketball season, 82 games in the season, baseball, it's like 160-something games. But you have to be the best version of yourself that night when the moment is required. Unfortunately, he didn't get that job done. But, it looked like he did a lot more damage than his opponent. It is what it is. I'm not crying about the decision.
And shoot, since we're talking about the topic, though, I wonder what these judges be really looking at, right? And how powerful is wrestling when you talk about just control but no damage. So, of course, Charles got out-wrestled the first and the second round. But when you don't have any damage and you're not putting in, like, how can you really score that fight? So how can you put control over damage? I really feel like, the criteria, man, they always change up for certain fighters. I think it needs to stick to one thing. Because you see other fighters that like Peter Yan and Sugar Sean O'Malley. A lot of people felt like Peter Yan won that fight, but they argued that Sean O'Malley had more damage, which led him to get the win. So my thing is, whatever criteria that y'all trying to use, stick with it. Because I feel like it's a lot of back and forth, man, going on with these judges.
Well, I could talk 10 years about judging and fighting. I think the thing about what people don't really fully understand with judging in MMA, it's just impossible to get 100% correct because damage is subjective. In some of my fights, some of those things that people are like, oh, that hurt. It didn't hurt at all, and it might have been a kick or a punch that nobody knew. I had a poker face on it, and that hurt the most. So damage is just hard to quantify how much damage that somebody took, and that you're just going off of optics and what we feel happened. So that's number one. And then number two, I feel like damage has to be a larger criteria than control, because I always say, like, let's just say we were in a schoolyard and me and you were fighting, right? And I double-legged you, and I held you down for, let's say, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. You got up, and then you punched me in my face. I feel like you won the fight.
Right in the grill.
I didn't do any damage. So, like, that's how I look at it. Even coming from a wrestling background, I wouldn't want to be the guy who got punched. I prefer to be the guy who punched. You holding me on my back, it sucks. But I feel like the only time grappling should matter is when there is – the damage is somewhat comparable.
You gotta be, to me, you gotta be on some Habib shit.
It has to be. It has to be more. It has to be comparable. Like let's just say, just take numbers. Fighter A throws 27 strikes and lands 14, and they get a takedown. And you threw maybe 20 strikes and you landed 16 of them. Okay, then you have a minute of control time. It was close. You might have done slightly more damage. Right. But the wrestling is an element that adds another layer of control and something else. But I just think that when there's very little to no damage done. I think a really good example of this is Dan Iggy versus Bryce Mitchell. I didn't see Dan Iggy in really much trouble at all.
Right.
Bryce
Got control.
Yeah, he just kind of got control. So, like, I just would have given it. But that's just one of many. But, you know, it's just hard to get down because, you know, you get people saying more judges. That's just more bad potential opinions in my feeling.
You said more judges?
Yeah,
no, I ain't heard that.
I've heard people say more judges. And then also people say, like, a point system, like, that's different. But then it becomes, like point karate. Like, what are we going to do? Like,
one thing I wouldn't mind, right? So that fighters can keep fighting. Open scoring.
Yeah,
We need open scoring so you can actually see, regardless if you agree with them or not, you see that your ass losing, right? So it will make you change, you know, whatever
100%.
Game plan you got. Instead of having the confidence in whatever your coaches is telling you, like, oh yeah, I think you got that round. You don't know.
You never know.
So the biggest thing, I think open scoring should definitely be a thing in the UFC right now. And I ain't gonna lie, I've been seeing a lot of draws lately. A lot of draws from a lot of fighters. We didn't used to see that many draws, but I feel like, you know, a lot of these judges, whatever, is just doing something at the last minute because they can't, even if the fight was close, they still not having the knowledge to see, okay, who really won in certain areas, whether that's the wrestling, whether that's the striking, cage clinch, you know, the pressure. Like, I don't know what these judges is looking at.
True. I think something else is important, too. Like, every fight isn't as black and white as what people make it seem. Like, I forget what fight it was on that night. It doesn't really matter. But I felt that it could have been, depending on how you look at it, it could have been various outcomes that I thought would have been fair. Where, like, oh, okay, if this person wins 2-1, oh, this round was pretty close. It could have gone either way. I think sometimes fans and media make it like, oh, like, this guy had to win. It's like Kamaru Usman and Khamzat is like a prime example where, like, you could argue that Khamzat got a 10-8. You could argue that Khamzat didn't get a 10-8. You could argue that Usman won 2 and 3. You could argue that Khamzat won 1 and 2. It wasn't so black and white. It was a very hard fight to score, and I was okay with the outcome. But I think sometimes people make it seem like, oh yeah, it's just definitely that. Whereas, you know, it's not. I don't know. It's an uphill battle for MMA. It's like I said. I feel
like we got to make these judges famous though. Like, they got to come.
Oh, there's some horrible decisions for sure. There are definitely some,
and they need to have some explanations on what they doing. You know, that's just my opinion, bro. But I ain't gonna lie to you though, bro. Just switching off topic, man.
Yeah.
My man just won him an interim title belt. My man out here blowing up. He already trying to get canceled. And I'm talking about Tom Aspinall, bro. Did you see this, man?
I did.
Tom Aspinall was in an interview with Nina, bro. And he asked her a straight up question. He was dead ass, too. He said...
I like the confidence, at least, you know? Like...
He said, have you ever been fingered by an MMA fighter before? And, I mean, it just threw Nina off. And me personally, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. I thought he was talking about, like, fingered as in flicking somebody off, you know? This mother, like, no, fingered though. Like, have you ever been fingered by him? I'm like, bro, what you wildin', bro? But, you know, he said it was just out of a joke, you know, and I'm gonna take it like that. But that's just some wild shit. You can't, at this day and age, man, you can't be going that far though, you know. They called it harassment, but they said it was harassment or some shit like that. I don't know.
What? You know, the funny part, I felt like she kind of tried to shoot him a little bit of bail, like, you don't mean that, do you? And he was like, yeah. I do. Actually, I mean... And that was the part that was crazy to me. I thought he was gonna play it off, but nah, like he doubled down.
Nah.
I don't know, man.
And that's cool if you trying to joke about it, but my man was dead ass.
He ain't laugh at all.
It was no giggles.
Yeah.
And then he said, hey, UFC fighters, man, I got y'all one. I said, nah. Nigga, you on your own. You can keep that one, blood.
No, like it kind of gave me like, I'm not even sure to be funny, like booty warrior vibes. Like I like you,
Man,
I want you. Like,
bruh, you hear me? He said, what it's gonna take. But man, hey, but shout out to Tom Aspinall for becoming, the light heavyweight. Or not heavyweight, my bad. The first heavyweight, in Britain. But you gotta calm down, G, bro. You just got the belt, bro. You know what I mean? You got a couple more years, nigga, before they put your ass out there on TV, bro. All right, but bro. And just wanted to talk about this too. You got also two great fighters. Sean Strickland and my girl Valentina Shevchenko. They had already been into it. We done already talked about it, right? Talking about women's MMA and what level they really are at. But my man just challenged her to a shootout. Sean, leave that girl alone, bro. You messing with the female version of John Wick, bro. Like, straight up. Straight up, bro. Like, you not winning. I don't care what nobody say. Sean is not winning that battle right there. You talking about a girl that was probably raised like Anna, you know what I mean? Straight spy, assassin out here, and just happened to be a cage fighter, man. Like she nice like that. I don't know if y'all seen videos, man, but
I've
she
seen
really,
it. That's
she
what
really
she
be in the field
That's
with
what
it,
she
though.
does.
Her name,
The Bullet. Yeah.
Bullet.
She got guns tattooed on her, right?
Yeah. Sean, I seen your wall, but nigga, I seen your shoot too, nigga. He thinking because he got that shotgun, nigga, like, yeah, nigga, that's gonna hit everything but your target.
That's so funny.
So, but I don't think, Sean, what you think about that though, bro?
I mean, I think Sean's just one of those guys who like to have fun. I don't think he thinks he's gonna win. Good engagement is good for the brand.
Yeah, man. I think it's cool, bro. Two fighters going back and back. Regardless of what it's about, man, it keeps everybody engaged, man. It gives a little story behind everything. The UFC is doing a great job building up the promotion, how they do it, right? And you see eras where they had the Chuck Liddells, the Brock Lesnar's, the Ronda Rousey, the Conor McGregor's. Bro, who you think finna be the next big star for the UFC right now?
Man, that's a tough one. I mean, probably if Sean O'Malley could stay on the course that he's on, I would have to think him, right? Like,
I think Sean O'Malley is definitely a great pick, definitely with who he's with, right? Great with the influences on TikTok and Instagram, but I don't know, he don't give me that star power feel though.
I mean, he's a finisher. He's exciting to watch. He's good on the mic. Like you said, he's like with the Nelk boys and all that. I mean, I just don't. If not him, I don't know who. I don't see anybody else really. That's true. Being a massive star.
And he just became a champion, so we'll see. How his career builds up. But for me though, right, when it comes to building a star, like you said, he's decent on the mic, but I haven't really felt that presence, right, with Sean O'Malley. And he does things that's quirky, blind. He changes up the color of his hair, rainbow colors, and that's cool and all. But I feel like he doesn't have that presence like Ronda did or like Conor did. I feel like the main person that probably could have did it, was Izzy, but he also didn't have that mic presence a lot of times. He wasn't really strong on the mic.
Izzy's good on the mic. I think the thing with him
when he tries, it's like when he not trying, like when he just being big fat. But when you talk about I'm gonna leave you frozen like else and then drop the mic, like nah, they ain't the drop the mic moment, bro. But funny enough though, and I'm gonna just keep saying it, bro. Funny enough, people ain't gonna believe me, but I feel like there's gonna be one mega star and it will be unexpected. And I keep shouting him out, but it's the truth. Sean Strickland. His numbers is going up on every single thing he's doing. So now my man just started to snap and everything of that nature. But I feel like if he taps into what he's already doing and how he's doing it, I feel like he could be the star, the next big star for the UFC. But
I don't know,
does the UFC want to make him that guy?
I don't even think it's whether the UFC wants to make him or not. It's how marketable are you in other avenues. It's like you see Sean Strickland on fucking Gatorade commercials talking about if you're a man, this will boost your performance. Like what are they gonna do? So right. I think that's the element too. Like even like in John Jones's controversy, like he had the mystique and the presence at first where we didn't see the controversies where he was marketable. Yeah. It was some of the outside the cage issues. But Sean is like Sean 24/7. You know, he doesn't hold his words. He doesn't bite his tongue, and he's like that all the time. You know, I saw him at a it was the UFC doing a thing with PBR, and he's talking about he'll hop on the bull and he'll ride if somebody would spar him. Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. Like, so I don't see that happening for those reasons. But do I think Sean could get a lot of attention and garner a lot of like could sell out pay-per-views for sure? But will he ever be like a Brock Lesnar? Will he be a Ronda Rousey? I just don't know if that's possible.
Man, big. I hear you on that one though. But Sean O'Malley does have the greatest possibility and avenue to actually become that. I just don't think he has the presence on that mic. But his fighting style though is great. His fighting style is great. But I feel like it's two elements that go with that. You know, you've seen when Ronda every time she finished somebody on that mic heavy. When Conor finished somebody on that mic heavy. I feel like if Sean O'Malley works on his on his mic presence and really able to move the crowd and stuff like that, I think he'd be on his way up there as the next big star for the UFC. You know, but I see like the UFC really trying to build up these fighters like Hamzat and Ian Gary. I feel like they really not looking for the American star anymore either. They looking for another person to be able to market outside of here, right, and build up a brand and stuff like that. But do you think anybody outside of pretty much America can become that megastar as well?
I mean, it's a different type of like Khabib's presence, you know, was just massive. I don't think that it looked the same as a Ronda Rousey or a Brock Lesnar. But as far as like how many times did they go to like Abu Dhabi and, you know, the card, you know,
sell out.
Usually the UFC card is at a time where it's like good for Americans to watch when he's fighting. They just do it at prime time over there. You know, we're watching a pay-per-view at 1 o'clock, you know, 1 p.m. And so my thing is, I think that you can definitely have that ability. It just won't necessarily look the same because American fans don't gravitate toward the same way as a Brock Lesnar or Ronda Rousey or Conor McGregor, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But I think Hamzat can definitely do something like that. He has that type of potential, you know?
Speaking of Hamzat, though, man, that Hamzat fight versus Usman, let's talk about that a little bit more. What did you think about that fight? I didn't really get to watch it, though, you know? But what did you think about that fight between both of them? Was Hamzat really showing, you know, his ability to be probably one of the best at middleweight or welterweight?
It was an interesting fight. I thought Hamzat won the fight, but Usman kind of stole a little bit of the luster from Hamzat because Usman took it on short notice. Hamzat had a hard time engaging in the striking range, and when he wasn't able to take down Usman, it looked that Usman was kind of in control. Hamzat looked like he was kind of getting tired. If that was a 5-round fight, I don't know how Hamzat would have did. But it was a good performance. I'm not saying that whatever, but I don't know if that mystique around Hamzat, like if I was a fighter in the UFC and somebody said Hamzat, like, oh, okay, like I see a light, you know, like I think Usman kind of exposed some of Hamzat's weaknesses to a certain degree. But do I think that he can win a title at 85? I mean, absolutely. That weight class is wide open, but yeah, it was an interesting fight.
And speaking of Usman, man, now that he's at middleweight or about to come back down to welterweight, you know, what do you think his legacy is now? Like, do you think that like Usman is the welterweight GOAT? No. Who you believe the welterweight GOAT is? Who your opinion?
I mean, George St. Pierre. I mean, I don't think it's even close. So with Usman, I consider him to be. I mean, it's tough. I mean, the hierarchy for welterweight is probably the toughest one to do because you have Hughes' era where Hughes was extremely dominant. You have Woodley, who had the title for a while, and then you have Usman, and then you have GSP. I think the thing about when you look at George St. Pierre, it was how dominant he was, how long that title reign lasted, and then the different opponents that he fought. Like Usman, it was kind of weird because like Gilbert Burns was like his training partner. Yeah. So it's like you probably know if you could beat your training partner. Like you
and then fighting Kobe twice, and then fighting Masvidal twice. Yeah, he really.
You fight Masvidal on short notice, then you fight Masvidal on a full camp. Look better the second time around, which you know, which credit to him. And then you fought Kobe Covington 2 times. So when GSP just kind of fought contender after contender, like Mighty Mouse, that's what in Jones, that's what makes their title reign so impressive. It's like you really cleared out divisions.
Right.
We can't really say that with Usman because we never saw him fight Shavkat. Right. We never saw him fight a Jeff Neal. We never saw him fight.
And my thing is like, is it that fighter's fault though? You know, just like Izzy, perfect example. You know, he was running through the same people: Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori, and of course Robert Whittaker. But a lot of those guys that he fought the same, other guys could not beat those other 3 guys. That's why Alex Pereira got the pass, right?
Yeah.
When he beat Sean Strickland, he didn't have to fight Jared Kennedy. He didn't have to fight Marvin. He ain't had to fight Robert. He got straight to the title. So, like, with putting that on Usman, right? Like, you can't say that about his reign because he has nothing to do about the people at the bottom, that aren't able to make it to where he's at for him to defend his belt.
It's not an indictment on him as a person, but it is part of his legacy. The story is also in the contenders as well. When you look at, like, all right, so if you look at a John Fitch, you look at a Josh Koscheck, you look at, what's his name, Brazilian, Thiago Alves. You had guys who were running through the weight class. You're like, oh, okay, like this could be a big test for GSP. I don't know if, aside from Colby Covington, I didn't really think Masvidal stood a great chance against Kamaru Usman. I didn't think that Gilbert Burns was going to be a crazy test for him. So until guys like Shavkat and Hamza would have rose up, we just never saw that. Like, I remember watching, DC and John Jones. You're like, oh, this is going to be a hell of a fight because DC had ran through the division where nobody really had done that except Kobe. So I just feel like when you look at strength of schedule, like there's a meme when you look at like GSP, like his opponent's record versus other people. I think it just stands for itself. It speaks for itself. So that's for me.
Another thing too, though. So since you said that, George St. Pierre, who wins the fight though? Being 100 though, Kamaru Usman or George St. Pierre? If they was really the fight in their prime though, I'm not talking about George St. Pierre coming, off of the movies, man, coming off Hitman. Hey, shout out to George St. Pierre, really out here doing this thing. But who wins that fight?
I still pick GSP.
Okay. Why though?
And the reason why is simple. Welterweight is probably the weight class that is evolved the least in mixed martial arts. So, like, if you look at the GSP era, or just take it back to the Matt Hughes era. So before Matt Hughes, you had Pat Miletich, dominant wrestler. You go to Matt Hughes, dominant wrestler. You go to GSP, who used a lot of wrestling in his attack. Then you go to Tyron Woodley, wrestler. You look at Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, wrestler. When you look at Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman, we don't look at their striking like, oh, yeah, like they're world-class strikers. It's their ability to mix in their grappling with their striking. So it has not evolved. I think that John Fitch and Josh Koscheck are basically Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman today, just a little cleaner striking, But that's the reason why I think GSP would do well, because he fought so many dominant wrestlers. He fought Jake Shields, who was All-American. He fought John Fitch, who was All-American. He fought Josh Koscheck, who was a national champion.
And it's crazy even to say that because George St. Pierre's background is karate.
Yeah.
That don't even make no sense.
And I forgot Johnny Hendricks in there, who was a champion too. So it's been dominated by basically American D1 wrestlers since the beginning of time that I can think of. So it hasn't evolved like a 155 where you get these guys who are coming over who are Sambo champions and so on and so forth. It's just dominant wrestler after dominant wrestler. So I don't understand. I guess I'll put it this way. I don't see what Kamaru Usman possesses that some of George's other competitors didn't have. High wrestling pedigree, good conditioning, mentally strong. Like, how does he differ from a lot of GSP's competition? I guess that's my question.
I give you that. Y'all already know, man. My GOAT, George St. Pierre too, man. But you gotta have those topics, man.
Yeah. So did you see that Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert exchange in the NBA game?
Man, did I see it, bro? Man, that shit was wild, man. My man put him in a whole headlock, bro.
What are your thoughts about NBA guys getting into fights?
Be honest with you, I think it's funny. These are some of the biggest athletes in the world,
Giants,
right? To see these guys trying to, mix it up and dig it out on the court. But you already know, like, that's been going on since the very beginning, man. A lot of basketball players getting into brawls and stuff like that. But to see them actually try to get in there and compete and, actually figure, like, so perfect example, right? Some dude called out John Jones.
Yeah, I forget his name, but yeah, he did mixed martial arts and all that for a while. I think he grew up doing karate or whatever, or some type of martial art.
But a lot of these athletes think they actually have a chance.
Yeah, no chance.
In the cage or in the ring.
No chance
with a lot of fighters, But I think it'd be fun to actually make these things happen, even if it's not up against the actual professional fighter. Allow these guys to get their get back on the actual professional card. Let Draymond Green and what's his name? Colbert?
Rudy Gobert. Stephen Colbert.
But let these dudes really dish it out. If they really about that, I think it'd be fun, man, for the sport, man, to get these guys involved and see what they could do. Man,
Draymond, he's just one of those dudes who seems like he just wish somebody would.
The time?
At all times. I think they said he was fined over $2.4 million in his career from, just different things.
Just over the years?
Tax and whatnot. So it's like,
You didn't see him punch his teammate,
Jordan Poole, yeah, I
I didn't see that.
So yeah, he in practice, him and Jordan Poole were having words with each other, and Draymond Green.
Also, yeah, Draymond need to get in the cage, bro. He dealing with shit. Bro.
I know you don't watch basketball that closely, but it's a young player named Anthony Edwards. He's a really good ball player, and him and Draymond are going at it, and Draymond's like, "You ain't tough though." And Anthony Edwards like, "Bro, what are you talking about? Like, we hooping, like what?" Like, Draymond's like, "Nah, but you ain't tough." Like, just try to pull his card to see if he can get him going. But it is what it is. Shout out Draymond though.
And I know how you gonna feel about it, but let's play the fantasy game. Like, if you could pick any sport, right, or any athlete from any sport, who you think could transition over to the fight league the best? So whether that's from basketball, whether that's from football, baseball, you know what I mean? What athlete from any other sport feel like they could transition over to fighting?
I mean, that's tough. I mean, I guess probably football. I mean, I think that's what we've seen probably more than anything. Brock used to play football back in the day.
Greg Hardy.
Yeah, Greg Hardy's not a great example, but he did. But I would think that probably the best. The only thing I would say is the physicality, somewhat similar, and I couldn't see basketball really transitioning well, or baseball. Like they're not really similar.
Man, it'd be giraffes out there fighting.
But at heavyweight, some more athletic guys like in the NBA, maybe. I don't know, but I would say football probably. What do you think?
I'll be honest with you, man. I've been thinking about this, bro. I want to see some gymnasts fight. Just because of how strong they are,
strong
how
as fuck,
athletic they are, I would love to see some gymnasts actually get up in there and tussle with some cage guys because their grip is crazy. Like just the aesthetics that they got is just wild, man.
Athletic, quick, yeah.
Yeah. So to actually see them be able to power through some actual moves, like takedowns probably wouldn't be an issue for those guys. The hand speed, with the striking probably wouldn't be no problem. And then the spring that they can get, bro, from kicks, from being so explosive on their toes, I don't think it'd be no problem. So I think gymnasts probably be crazy.
Gymnasts would probably be a good pick for sure.
Yeah. All right, y'all, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the Brick Brothers podcast, man. Like I said, with my boy Edric Dillard. It's your boy Joaquin Buckley, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Like I said, don't forget, go ahead, subscribe, man. Hit that bell notification, bro, and rock with us. Lock in.